Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show.
Count what down?
You are such an asshole. All right, everybody, we're back once again. This is our Doctor Strange special, and we're going to just be talking about all things Doctor Strange. And before we start it, we need you to know, spoiler alerts are in effect. If you have not seen the movie, dear God, do not listen to this podcast. It is about to get really, 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 really crazy up in here. It's okay. First of all, you and I watched a movie during the week that we didn't do a show.
Yeah.
Okay. Due to the fact that, some things that happened in our life, we couldn't do the show. So we did take that free time to get caught up. And I know I went and watched Doctor Strange. You saw it also. I love the movie.
It was great overall.
Yeah.
It does have its flaws, but they're minor.
Very minor. But the thing that gets me is there's a lot of things that happen in Doctor Strange that, like I told you, we have friends. Some of our friends drink. Some of our friends smoke. Some of our friends partake. Some of them did all three things before they went and saw Doctor Strange. I went completely bone dry sober. And everybody's like, you're going to go watch Doctor Strange sober? Yes. I have to be there for work purposes. This is work for me. Everybody else went to see a movie. I went to catch Easter eggs that we could talk about for our Doctor Strange special. There were some amazing ones. Okay. And okay, first of all, let's get into this. We're not even going to play. If you will, we could give you 15 of them, okay? There are 15. But some of these are so deep, most people are not going to catch them. Let's start with this one. This was CBR, Comic Book Resources, did the 15 best Doctor Strange Easter eggs, okay? Mm-hmm. Their list, I caught some of what they said. Not even a problem. Some of them, I didn't catch. Had no idea, But let's get into this. Before we get into the Easter eggs, let us figure out that we know the next Avengers movie is the Infinity War.
Yeah.
Which is going to tell the story.
Actually, no, it's not Infinity War's next.
Avengers movie.
No, it's not even Avengers. It's, what's his name?
Well, we know.
Planet Hulk.
Well, yeah, that's the Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok. That's the next movie that's coming out.
But I'm saying as an Avengers.
Oh, as an Avengers.
The Avengers movie, where the big team movie will be the Infinity Gauntlet storyline and the Infinity War and stuff. We know this is coming. People don't. I don't know if people have been paying attention, but even if you're a casual viewer of these movies, there's the story around these stones. Okay, first stone shows up. Loki had it in his scepter. That was the Mind Stone, the blue one that, could brainwash everybody.
That was the one that was powering all the weapons in the original Captain America.
Yes. He was, knocking people's brains out with that one. Vision has the Mind Stone right now implanted in the middle of his forehead. So the Infinity Stones are everywhere right now. So we know it's... let's see. They forgot what the red one was in Thor Dark World, but they called it the Ether. That's what they called it in Thor. So it was like a totally different. The Power Stone was the purple one that was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think that was the Reality Stone.
Was that the Reality Stone? No, the Reality Stone is the one that we see in Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has the reality because...
No, he has the time.
Yo, he does have, because they could warp time and
the Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah,
warps time.
So we got all these damn stones running around, and we're about to get a movie about all these. So let's go through it.
The blue stone is the space stone. The yellow stone, which is the one that's in Vision, is the Mind Stone. Mm-hmm. The red stone is the Reality Stone. The purple one that was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
The red stone was the one that Malekith wanted that was in Thor Dark World. That was the reality. They call it the Ether. The purple, what was it? The Power Stone is the purple one from Guardians?
The Time Stone is the Eye of Agamotto. And then the Soul Stone, Let's see. The Soul Stone is shown in Guardians of the Galaxy to be orange. Feige stated that it would be seen sometime in Phase 3 for sure. Blah, blah, blah. There's a gauntlet that needs to be filled. So the only one we haven't seen yet is the orange one.
And we did see Thanos at the end of, was it the first Avengers movie, putting on the glove, I'll do it myself?
Yeah.
That's the Infinity Gauntlet.
I think he was talking about masturbation.
Possibly, but we've
gonna
all
do it
understood Thanos. We've all been there, buddy. No judgment. But we do know that gauntlet was out there. We saw him put it on, and those stones are supposed to power that gauntlet and make you basically a god at that point.
If you have all of them.
If you have all of them. So,
we also know that the Living Tribunal exists.
Well, we know that from
Doctor Strange. Because he has because Mordo has the staff of the Living Tribunal.
He did. And that's, let's face it, the Living Tribunal. Okay, this is where we start getting into deep, deep comic book knowledge right now. The Living Tribunal was this three-faced guy, who was a god. He basically was the god of all the multiverses. He pretty much kept everything in check in the multiverses.
He's one step below the one above all, which the one above all, if you want to, for all intents and purposes, is God.
Right. The one above all would be God.
We're talking like pretty much unlimited power.
Yeah.
And we've seen him in the comic books stop the use of the Infinity Gauntlet cold. So even if you have the Infinity Gauntlet and you have all those stones, you still are not more powerful than the Living Tribunal. Like, to give you a scale of power.
Yeah. You are powerful and can warp reality, but you not more powerful than the Living Tribunal, and you're not more powerful than the one above all.
Yeah.
But they tend not to always get involved.
Yeah.
They tend to let these lower life forms figure it out for themselves, and they try not to get involved. But yeah, that's we're getting deep. This is getting deep. So let's just work through the 15 here, okay? We got 15 things that you probably didn't notice we think is going to be great. Let's talk about Mordo. Baron Mordo, decked out in an outfit that a lot of people were talking about, He had his first, the leaping boots of Valtor, which allow him to leap great distances. That is deep from the comic books. It's a reference to the magical deity Valtor that Doctor Strange often invokes for spells. He usually cites either the vapors of Valtor or the vipers of Valtor. That's deep, old school comic book knowledge right there. And he also had the staff of the Living Tribunal, which you said, which is the cosmic being who judges all cosmic disputes in the Marvel Universe. And he's tangled with Doctor Strange on more than a few occasions, okay? So, we know that happened. Hamir. Hamir. As we would say, the one-handed Chinese ancient, that was at the temple in Doctor Strange. You meet him, and the ancient one has him come out and cast a spell, and he only has one hand.
Yeah, to prove to Strange that he can...
That it doesn't matter about the nerve damage in your hand, you can cast spells. Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy had one hand and cast a perfect spell. Comic books, this is where it's going to get weird. In comic books, we come to find out that Hamir was the father of Wong.
Mm-hmm.
In the movie, that's never really hinted at or suggested.
Yeah, I don't think that's a part of the...
I don't think they're going to keep that in the movie universe, the cinematic universe, but definitely it happens. Now, here's one of my favorite things. 2 times during Doctor Strange, I guess this would be, number 13? This is our 13th Easter egg. The Avengers Tower shows up in the movie. Yeah. Now, here's why...
I don't really think that that's considered to be an Easter egg, because that's just kind of a given. I mean, if you're going to show shots of New York, you're going to see the Avengers Tower because it's there.
Well, let's stop and think about that for a second. When you see it at the very first of the movie, when he's putting on the watch, he's getting his watches and getting ready to go out that night. Okay, when it shows that cutaway scene in New York before we see him in his amazing loft apartment, I saw the Avengers Tower and I said, "There's the Avengers Tower right there." And I told my brother, and he's like, "Oh yeah, good catch." I said, "Yeah, that's cool." And he said, "It's the Avengers Tower, no big deal." I'm like, "No, think about it. The Avengers aren't in the Avengers Towers anymore." He said, "What?" I said, I'll talk to you about it at the end of the movie. So here's the thing. Avengers first movie, they're in the tower. We know that's their tower. Start of Age of Ultron, they're in the tower. Remember, the tower gets tore up when Ultron kicks everybody's ass, right? Here's where that's impressive to me. Doctor Strange movie starts when that tower is still standing. If you remember at the end of Captain America, Civil War, they're no longer in the tower. They're out there at that
at the base in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean
upstate New York base.
Tony Stark still owns that tower. It's not like that whole building got knocked down. What you could be hinting at, I'm assuming, is that maybe Doctor Strange happened before Avengers 2?
Exactly. Now, here's why. Because if you remember, during Captain America Winter Soldier, they mentioned Doctor Strange as a threat to Hydra. Doctor Strange's name comes up as a threat, that he could be a threat. So, me geeking out because I see the tower, to me, you're establishing that Doctor Strange
has been around for a while.
Has been going on this whole time. Which would explain that, okay, this movie takes place over several years. It starts with his career, but then also at the same time, they're establishing the tower. So there's some stuff going on here where I'm kind of like, oh, this is interesting. What are they doing here? They're establishing some things here. But that Easter egg in and of itself of showing us the towers and seeing the tower twice tells me that by the time the next Avengers movie comes up, the movie, spoilers, as we said at the start of the show, by the end of this movie, he is not technically the Sorcerer Supreme. He is still training he's definitely tapping into the power, but he has not become the full-time Sorcerer Supreme yet. He's working toward his next level where he's the most powerful, okay? And Wong tells him, you're still not ready. You don't even know what the Infinity Stones are. And I thought that was a great line where Wong tells him that you still have a lot to learn. Can't be walking around the streets with the Eye Agamotto around your neck.
I want a fucking Wong movie.
Wong would kick ass, dude.
I want him as I want him in his own movie. That's what I want. I want Wong like as a side story to Doctor Strange. I want another movie that just focuses on Wong because he's a fucking awesome character.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, there's some stuff. Dude, I would have watched the Ancient Ones movie. Because how do you get to be the Ancient One? There's some shit going on in that woman's life.
By stealing power from Dormammu.
You stole some shit. You had a business stealing. But, no, I was just like, man, I'll be the first to say, I really saw that thing. And what messed me up about it also is that there was something that happens. Okay, you remember when he's in the car right before the wreck?
Uh-huh.
That messes up his hands?
By the way, that wreck scene just looked terrible compared to the rest of the film for some reason.
You didn't like the wreck?
No, I mean, I liked the wreck scene was good, but the CG for the wreck scene, like, you could tell that was not a real person.
Oh yeah,
like the CG at the beginning of Deadpool, which was done for like $60 million, having them fighting in the car and like being stopped, like all of that was fake. All of it was 3D generated. It was computer generated, but it was a lot easier to tell for me for some reason that Doctor Strange in that sequence was fake versus if you go and watch that scene from Deadpool.
Oh, okay, yeah. Here was the thing about that. Remember, he's listening. He's on his phone, which, let's just say this right now. Don't be on your phone and in your car. You will get superpowers and become Doctor Strange. So don't do that. But it was one of the weirdest things, man. It's like they're talking to him, right, about, hey, we got a couple of cases pulled for you that maybe you'd be interested in. Now, here's what messed me up. At first, when I heard it, I heard about a general with a spine issue who was hurt in experimental armor. And the first thing that popped in my mind was Rhodey, War Machine, into Civil War.
Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, that would make sense knowing that Civil War was the last film we saw. But it doesn't necessarily make sense considering that we just saw the tower maybe 7 minutes before that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, where are we setting this in time? Because the tower's there. Strange goes away for a couple years, to go learn at Shangri-La, wherever he was,
Yeah.
It was in Nepal, so we know he's gone. So there's some time that's passed. Were we trying to say that this happened before? Was that Rhodey that they were talking about? Or was it not? Now, there was another one, too. So I don't know if they were talking about Rhodey, but spine issue, general, experimental armor. I'm thinking War Machine, Civil War, he's hurt. The other one was, I think they were foreshadowing Captain Marvel on the phone. And the reason I say that, the other person they talked about was a woman with schizophrenia who had a transplant, had something implanted in her brain, and it also had, I guess, electrocuted her. She was struck by lightning. So to me, I'm not quite sure where they were going with that one. I thought, that's kind of interesting. I don't know what they're trying to do there. But I really, 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 I got geeked out because I say they're either talking about Rhodey or they're foreshadowing, or they're really trying to foreshadow what's coming with Captain Marvel and her powers. I wasn't sure where they were going with it, but that was one of the things I noticed, and I didn't know. Like, my brother didn't catch it. He'll tell you, he was the first one to say, "I didn't even get that, man." And look here, like if you go to this one, you'll see where they're talking about. See right there, they said this is one of the reasons why the man who was injured from the experimental armor that Doctor Strange is offered to work on in his car before it crashes wouldn't be a reference to War Machine. They said the same thing, and his Civil War injury. They don't think it is either. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. I got geeked at first thinking they're talking about Rhodey, but I don't know if they were.
What about... I'm trying to think of who else it might be. Maybe Obadiah Stane getting hurt in the armor at the end of the original Iron Man?
Oh, see?
Or maybe Whiplash?
It could have been somebody got hurt in some experimental armor, but they were general?
More general.
That's the part that gets me. So I'm not quite sure who they were referencing, but I definitely got... You're going to try to look it up right now?
Yeah. I don't know if other people are saying it's an Iron Man Easter egg.
See, I don't think it's talking about Rhodey, man. Just because
Rhodey isn't a general either. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was something going on, but I can't quite figure out what it was or who it was that they're referencing. I don't know. This is definitely going to be something I got to look into. And I'm thinking about going back to watch it a second time just because I want to get into it deeper. I really got to get into this one.
We should just go over there and watch it again after we get done with this.
I can't today.
And then come back and what?
Yeah, I totally would, though. But I got to figure this one out. I am really going to... This is going to be what I'm working on for the next few months. I got to figure out who they were talking about. Also, let's just, man, look, I said this before. We talk about some of the greats of comic books. Steve Ditko's name is one of the greats of comic books. And if you watch that movie...
There it is, right there. It's not Rhodey. It's one of the... it's somebody who was injured via hammer tech.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
It's a reference to Luke Cage. Not Luke Cage specifically, but the bad guy in Luke Cage... that he fights at the end, who's in the experimental armor, who got the shit punched out of him.
Ah, but he wouldn't have been a general. Yeah, you're talking about not Cottonmouth. What was his name? He was his brother, his half brother.
Yeah, his half brother. I can't remember his name right now.
Can't think of his freaking name, but yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it wouldn't have been him. But man, I was looking at this. So likely it's a reference to Iron Man 2 and Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell's attempt to knock off an Iron Man suit of his own to use Marines to test out the experimental suits of armor. That could be true. Interesting. That could definitely be what it is. Yeah. Because, man, when he says that, I got geeked out. So it's something. It was definitely something. Also, there was another one. Like I was saying, Steve Ditko, his whole universe. Like if you read the comic books in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, they looked, even in the 60s, it looked tripped out. It looked like something that you would drop acid and see, right? dude, they nailed that in when he journeys like into his own mind, when the Ancient One sends him onto the journey through all the dimensions. That was straight from the comic books. It was so
little
amazing.
baby hands.
Oh my God, baby hands mess me up. I love baby hands, but the baby hands on top of baby hands on top of baby hands scene, it was a lot of cool stuff that I just thought, this is just a drug trip coming to life. This is awesome. I could have watched that for an hour. I really could have watched that. It was just so neat. What was the other one? The Mindless Ones. Now, this is deep. Once again, most people that are going to catch this, you either had to read the comic book for a while or be familiar with it. You didn't really know some of this stuff, man. But the Mindless Ones were these like giant clay zombie things with like a visor for an eye, like the Cyclones from Battlestar Galactica. All right, and it was like, that's what they were, just giant, like they look like Batman's villain Clayface. That's what their bodies look like.
Yeah.
And what happened is, I guess if you served Dormammu, this is, when he gave you eternal life, this is what he did. He didn't give you like, rest in paradise with power. He made you a mindless one. That's why everybody that followed him, their eyes were starting to get that kind of weird, black, crusty look around their eyes. Yeah, eventually they're going to become the mindless ones.
I think that what they were trying to go for with that shit around everybody's eyes was, if you looked at it closely enough, you could tell that it looked like the Dark Dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looked like, they got some Steve Ditko in their eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did not just go for that. Oh man, but yeah, it's weird. It was so weird. But I personally, when Strange told him, I made him a deal, he said, you're going to get to serve him for all eternity, but it's not the deal you think it is. And you kind of saw their eyes were kind of taking on those visor looks as they were dissolving. I seriously think that's what they're about to become, were the mindless ones. So it was, I really, 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 really liked it. What else did they do in there that was kind of neat? Man, there was a couple things that we picked up on. I know everybody talked about the Pink Floyd reference. Because like, I guess Roger Waters wrote a song called Cymbeline, and it was Doctor Strange was mentioned in the lyrics in that song. He was also on the cover of their second album, 1968's A Saucer Full of Secrets, which I did not know that. I had no idea that Doctor Strange was on that cover, but that was kind of neat. Also, Shambhala, the Wi-Fi password, I kind of giggled at that. Shambhala is always mentioned in there, right? It was when Doctor Strange tries to find the spirit of the Ancient One in the realm of Shambhala and gets enlisted in a dangerous mission instead. He's been to Shambhala. It's kind of like their version of heaven, or one of the dimensions versions of heaven. So that's where he was trying to find the Ancient One to consult with him about an issue in the comic book. That's where he went to go find it. But man, I thought that was kind of a neat reference too. Now, we already talked about this, that wand, the wand of Watum. Let's go to that. Well, let's just get over it. I know you like Wong. He was he actually turned out to be a badass. Now we know that was the staff of the Living Tribunal, okay? But a lot of times people don't realize that almost every one of these movies, there's something that's going to get mentioned that's going to be something that ties to something from the comic book or to another character. This was a thing that Strange had a lot of these artifacts, especially at the Sanctum in New York.
Sanctum Sanctorum.
Yeah, it has a lot of artifacts of the mystic and the unknown that are housed in there, and we're going to get into some of those. The Wand of Watum, or the Wand of the Living Tribunal, is so powerful that Doctor Strange split it into two parts so that it couldn't be used together. Now, this was one of the things that happened in the comic books, and even comic book resources went to tell us, that this villain Xanadu managed to use Spider-Man to get the second part after Xanadu found the first, and thus the Wand of Watum was together again. And Xanadu could alter reality itself with the wand. Luckily, he was defeated by Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and Strange destroyed the wand. It kept getting recreated, and Xanadu kept coming back for it, however. Recently, it was revealed that there are multiple ones of Watum in the Marvel Universe. So that wand will come back to play. I would not be shocked if we don't see that come back as a weapon in the Infinity Gauntlet series. Trust me, I think it's going to come back into play eventually. Also, man, I've been noticing the Doctor Strange has a new comic. Well, he's got 2 comic books going now in the Marvel Now universe. Mm-hmm. And he now has Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supremes, where he's traveling through time and getting all the world's greatest sorcerers like Merlin and pulling them all together for this big job. And I was like, haven't picked it up yet.
Hold on. Doctor Strange is putting together the Supremes?
Yes, he is. Doctor Strange put together the Supreme. It's going to be like Supremes 11. It's like, I got a job for you. We got to break into this casino in this dimension. And Dormer moves the pit balls. So it's going to be a great movie. But no, I thought that was neat that they did that. And then Dr. Nick West. Man, Nick West, it's got to suck when you're a comic book character known for sucking at your job. And that he is the reason that that Stephen Strange's hands got jacked up because he kind of butchered the operation. And that came from there was a comic book, it was more the recent one, retellings of his origin. That's where Nick West came into play. So there were certain things out of that comic book. It was Doctor Strange, The Oath, and it was a graphic novel. I think you can pick it up right now. Nick West came out of that. Also out of that comic book was the scene where he's having the open heart surgery, and his astral body is assisting with the operation.
Yeah,
that happened that was a scene from the comic book, The Oath. So if you hadn't read it, it's a good chance for you to go out and pick it up if you want to get some backstory into this. But that's definitely something to look at too. All right, and then also there was the Black Knight's helmet. Now, I didn't know what the hell this was, man. Like, I remember when we went into the Inner Sanctum, I was just like, oh my God, look at all this geeky stuff. But I did not know what the Black Knight's helmet was. I totally missed this. I said, wow, this is the Black Scepter is like the most obscure reference in Doctor Strange, and we'll talk about that. The presence of the Black Knight helmet at the Sanctum Sanctorum is probably the hardest to see during the film, as it is only seen for the brief moment on top of not being a big helmet. It's on the far right hand side of the above image. I had to look at this. Do you see it in there?
You said far right hand
side.
Right there?
Oh, boom. He walks by that at one point.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him walk by that. Guest starring Black Knight. The Black Knight is Dane Whitman, whose ancestors was a knight in the time of King Arthur. In modern times, Whitman's uncle had become a supervillain under that name. When his uncle died, Whitman decided to take over as Black Knight. Only being a superhero, he wields the cursed ebony blade, which thirsts for the blood of the vanquished. But if you give in to that thirst, the sword just takes control of your mind and makes you crave more and more conquest. Whitman has long fought the effects of the curse. The Black Knight and Doctor Strange have long been acquaintances and have gone on a number of adventures together. So that's actually kind of cool, man. It's real neat that he had the helmet of the Black Knight there. So, which the Black Knight, oddly enough, is very much a B-level Avengers character. It's a weird character. It's a dude dressed as a Black Knight carrying a sword. Not a lot of bad guys. You're not stopping a lot of crime with that. You know what I'm saying?
You're not going to stop crime with a sword?
Well, you're not going to be out in the streets with it. I promise you that. Cap ain't letting you just run around the streets of New York with a sword, just chopping fools up. But yeah, it was kind of neat to see that helmet showed up. I didn't even catch that reference, man. So, and I remember when I saw the picture, I said, "Oh, I do remember seeing him walk by that." Totally didn't get it. This one, the evil eye relic, I didn't catch that. Did you?
Mm-mm.
This whole thing about it was a powerful weapon wielded by the Crusader, Prester John, against the Fantastic Four, and it exploded into 6 pieces, and this became the basis for the Avengers Defender War. This is comic book history that you're talking to me about. I never knew about.
No idea.
Huh?
I've never seen this shit before either.
Yeah, there was some shit they started getting into, man, where I was like, what? I do remember this.
Catching the Doors of Perception.
That is what we see. That book is when we saw Stanley on the bus. That's the book he's reading, The Doors of Perception.
I laughed my fucking ass off at that scene, by the way. I lost it.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. One day we got to rank them. We got to rank all the Stan Lee appearances and cameos. My favorite still may be the Deadpool appearance.
Yeah.
Him in the strip club is hilarious. I don't care. That's number one now. The number one favorite scene. Second one would probably be when he's the drunk vet at the party in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And they have to carry him out because the Excelsior, he's smashed. Probably my second favorite Stan Lee cameo.
When he fucking pulls that, he's trying to pull the hammer out of the ground with the truck, and he just pulls the whole back end out of the fucking truck.
Yeah, Stan Lee gets great scenes in these movies. This one here I did catch, and I geeked the fuck out over this next one that we're going to discuss. I don't know if you're familiar with it. There was a comic book at one time called The Runaways, okay? And these were kids that found out that their parents were bad guys, okay? Not a bad thing. They just found out their parents sucked and were bad guys, and these kids had powers, and these kids ran away, and they were being hunted down, and they ended up becoming heroes. All right, they ended up becoming this young superhero team. This was in... what's so weird about this is that Tina Minoru, which was... she was one of the Ancient One's masters. Mm-hmm. So she's in that comic book. She was in the movie. All right, just not a small, not a big scene, wasn't an intricate part, but the name comes up. Now, here's what's so weird about that. She ends up becoming a mother to one of those kids that's in the Runaways, okay?
Yeah.
So what kills me about this is the staff of one was her weapon that she wielded. That was also Sister Grimm, who's in A-Force, powerful ancient mystic in the current comic book series now herself. She has it. So when you see that she is in here, or the staff of one is in this comic book, you pretty much just established that Sister Grimm can now exist in this universe, and the Runaways can now exist in this universe. You just set it up. That was one of those big ones where it was like you expanded the universe by showing this one item. Mm-hmm. Anybody that read The Runaways, which was really, a great series, I want to say that was Brian K. Vaughan, I think, did Runaways. Amazing run, did really well. That one item links to that whole series and to all these other characters. So I was just like, man, and I would love to see a Runaways movie. I think nobody would get hyped about it. I think it'd be a very small group of people hyped about it. But I think a team of young kids running away from their parents who were supervillains and they're superpowered could be a pretty successful film.
Yeah.
I think it could be a successful film. And then the last thing that we saw in there was they talked about Dead Master Daniel Drum, right? Mm-hmm. Who, Brother Jericho, Brother Voodoo is who he was in the comic books, man. And I think there's only one guy.
Jericho Drum is Brother Voodoo. Mm-hmm. Jericho he's a supporting character for Daniel Drum.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, wasn't it like they both got mixed together somehow through a weird spell, and then they both became that? It's a weird story when you get into Daniel and Jericho Drum. Let me see if I can find this. Yep, that's right. So he's the brother of
it's
Brother Voodoo.
It's kind of like a Firestorm.
Yeah, but one time I think they actually had the cloak of levitation that belonged to Doctor Strange, and he fought under the title Dr. Voodoo. Mm-hmm. So that was a part, when every hero in Marvel's had to take a sabbatical for some reason or another, and Brother Voodoo was at one time the Sorcerer Supreme. So I thought that was kind of neat that it's some stuff that you can see happening, because if we see Jericho Drum show up in the second Doctor Strange movie, I'm done for, bro. If Brother Voodoo shows up in a movie, I'm walking right out the theater. I'm done at that point because I'll be like, I'll have to leave and say I can't even and go to Starbucks. It will be done for me. I will not be able to process that.
Gotta get that flat white with soy.
You know it.
Gotta get it
I'll be like, I
spice.
can't even. And give me a pumpkin latte. I can't even. I would be messed up if that happens. But no, I saw it, and there were so many of these Easter eggs, man. And we didn't even in the time that we just took right now, we didn't catch everything. Like a second viewing, I'm going back to see it again. I can tell you I will go see it again. But I know I didn't catch everything.
So the problems that I had with the movie were minor. Like there seemed to be some pacing issues. Like we took a long time to get Strange to start his training, and then his training seemed to be almost instantaneous. And then we pivoted from there directly into madness, basically.
Yeah. Well, okay. Have you ever seen the animated version of the Doctor Strange origin story?
No.
Marvel animated movies, which are solid as fuck. I love them. But they did a Doctor Strange one. I think you can find it on Netflix right now if you get a chance. If you got Netflix or you got Epic's account or if you got even Hulu, go look for the Doctor Strange animated film. Hits all the points. This was one of the things I said. If you've seen the animated film, which told the origin of Doctor Strange, it did it so well that I was like, if they just make a live action version of this cartoon, I would be happy as shit with this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I will not complain. They do a lot of it, man. That cartoon was amazing, and they nailed it. It was just amazing. I can't wait to see where they go from here. I really can't, because I think there's going to be some nuttiness that they're going to pull with this whole thing. And then the ending scene. Ooh, excuse me. Good Lord. The ending scene, the post-credit scene where we see Thor and Doctor Strange meeting for the first time, geeked out. So now I'm trying to figure out, are we going to get Doctor Strange in Ragnarok? Do you think he's showing up?
I think that might be the only way that they're going to be able to get to Battleworld.
Is to make him open a portal to that dimension?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because we're assuming that Thor disappeared before Civil War.
Yeah, he was gone because he left at the end of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Remember, he had to go figure out what that vision he had meant.
Yeah, so he probably went from there to Doctor Strange, and then they had to have gotten to Battleworld somewhere or somehow. If they're looking for Loki, does that mean that Loki's already on Battleworld and they're going to Battleworld to get him, and they recruited the Hulk to help them somehow?
Well, remember, the Hulk had already kind of at the end of Age of Ultron.
He pieced the fuck out, but
he was in the plane and he kept going. He pieced out. He was like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah, but if Hulk is going with them to Battleworld?
We don't even know where the hell the Hulk is. There's been no no Hulk sightings, no Banner sightings.
I'm pretty sure that Doctor Strange could find him.
That's why I'm more excited about Ragnarok. What the fuck is this guy?
You know what would be really cool is if they went and talked to Swamp Thing to figure out where.
Bro, Swamp Thing's DC. You can't bring Swamp Thing into this universe. Quit it.
Why not?
You and your... We can cross. This is our opportunity to do it.
Damn it.
Just do it already. Give us the Justice League versus the Avengers. That was a great comic book series. Okay. I don't know what they're going to do, but this is just... I'm really going to say I was really, really interested in it and where they're going to go with this whole thing. But I just don't see it happening. I don't know what they're going to do. I think I had more questions leaving Doctor Strange, but for what they did, I liked how they set the movie up and where it's going to go from here. I think they got it. They got the basis set up because they basically set up Ragnarok. They also set up the next Avengers film. I think we're pretty much set from here, man. Phase 3 looks like it's...
And don't forget Mordo's out there fucking shit up too.
Yes. So we got to get another Doctor Strange movie because we got to know why what's Mordo doing stealing too many sorcerers?
So, that's the thing is, like, at the end of the movie, with Doctor Strange's powers, there always has to be a balance. So for every time that you do something else gets affected. Well, because he used the Eye of Agamotto and because he he did all the things that he did to try to save the planet. The pivot to that is Mordo goes from being a good guy to being a bad guy, and then Mordo is the agent of balance who's going through and trying to kill or remove the powers of all of the sorcerers that he thinks shouldn't have powers. Which is why he goes and cripples that guy again at the end of the movie. You know, he walks into the guy's workshop and steals his power.
Oh yeah, because he used it to walk. That's what he did.
Which that was fucked up, by the way.
Oh God. Yeah, no, dude, that was brutal. I can't wait to see where they go with this.
I love the fact that they cast him as Mordo too, because he plays such a really good fucking bad guy. Like in Serenity, he was the best bad guy.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was not even thinking about that. That is cool. And at one point, I kind of thought he was going to get tapped to be. I really thought he was going to be the Black Panther at one point. Mm-hmm. Like when they were talking about he was coming to the Marvel Universe, but they never told us who he was going to be. I thought that was who they were getting to be, the Black Panther. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm in love with Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther. But to see him show up here as Mordo, I thought, well played. Well placement.
I think that Mads Mikkelsen was good in the role, but I really wish they would have just gotten somebody else, because he was just such a throwaway character. Like, he's gone now. He's been retracted into the Dark Dimension. He's not coming back.
Oh, no. You will never see Caecilius again in this. Mm-mm.
And that's sad, because Mads Mikkelsen is an amazing actor, and I think he also plays another amazing bad guy. Like, he was in the new incarnation of what's his face on television?
Lecter.
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter, yeah, he was on that.
He played a great Hannibal Lecter. He could have played somebody else who would have had a little bit more staying power than the character that he wound up playing, which is sad.
I'm going to just say it. I was not happy at first about Tilda Swinton being the Ancient One. I thought it should have been an older Asian actor.
Can't do that.
She was amazing. I really liked her.
So there's a podcast where one of the guys who was one of the people who worked on Doctor Strange basically explains exactly why they wound up going with Tilda Swinton. And it has to do with a bunch of different factors. Like, if you make it an Asian actor, are you going to make it somebody who's Tibetan? If you make it somebody who's Tibetan, then your movie gets banned in fucking China. If and you don't want it to be banned out of the largest thing. Mm-hmm. If you change his ethnicity to something else, you're going to anger somebody else. If you change him, like, the character itself is fundamentally fucking racist. That's the way it was written because of the time and the place that the character came along. They're basically, the way it boiled down is there was no safe bet. Like, if they make it a man, then all of the feminists are going to get angry because why isn't a man and not a woman? If you make it an Asian actor, then you're going to anger an entire country, and then you can't release your movie there. So you don't.
So they were damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Basically. So they just went with, okay, we're going to make it Tilda Swinton because it's the Ancient One, and it doesn't matter where she's from or where the character comes from. It just needs to be the right actor for the job, and she was the right actor for the job.
She was amazing. No, and then and I do remember at one time Mordo says, "What do you know about her?" I just know she's Celtic and she's been around forever. And I thought, well, Celtic practices have been around forever, so that kind of makes sense. She came across some shit back in the day, so I thought it was a brilliant line to explain her being the Ancient One. It was a small line, but if you were paying attention, you caught it. You went, "Oh, nice, well played, Marvel. Well played, script writers."
Yeah,
it was a great line, and I thought, but man, that first fight scene with her, and I'm just like, okay, because Tilda Swinton has showed up in a couple of things. Like, she was the Archangel Michael in the Constantine movie.
No, not like this.
No, she was a badass in that movie.
That's the line. That's from the GIF that everybody has from that movie. That's her. saying that line.
Yeah, I know, man. It was just, she was a badass in that movie, man. But I was just like, oh gosh, dude. But then no, it's see her here, and it's just like, okay, yeah, her in comic book movies, she's all right with me. She's good. And then I have a thing for Rachel McAdams because I've watched The Notebook so many damn times with my wife.
Oh God.
I was just like, when I saw Rachel McAdams on the screen, I was like, I could watch this woman read Dr. Seuss books and be entertained. I don't know what it is about her. She could read Dr. Seuss and I'd be like, she's so dreamy. And I'll put that in my notebook. But no, I really did enjoy the movie, though, man. And Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, once again, they couldn't have picked a better guy, man. He nails that.
He did nail it. I would have liked it if they would have gotten House.
Oh, Hugh Laurie?
Hugh Laurie as Doctor Strange would have been fucking awesome. That and his New York accent, his American accent is a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. But, man,
But
Cumberbatch
I mean, at
looked
this point,
it.
I think they wanted to cast somebody young because they want to have multiple movies with the same
Oh, he's
character.
going to have to do some multiple movies. He's sticking around for the long haul. We got him coming up again. So I thought that was really neat what they did with that. But, yeah, seeing Tina Minoru in the movie, I promise you, that blew me away because that sets up so much more for this movie, man. Man, anything that we missed on this? Anything you can think of?
Not much. I just wish it didn't have the pacing problems that it had. That's really the only thing. And I wish that there was just a touch less CG because the movie is very visually tiring. It's like hard to continuously see that level of just fuckery going on all the time.
Here's the thing about it, though, that it got me. At one point, my brother was worried that it was going to be like a paper-thin script and a whole CG fest. Where in this one, it was a good script and the CG enhanced the fight scenes. And that's when it shows up. And I was like, that's what you wanted to do. You want the CG to enhance it, not to take it over.
Yeah.
Don't go to the movie. Like, I hate to say it, San Andreas was one giant CG fuckfest with a paper-thin script.
Yeah.
So don't...
But it made The Rock a lot of money, so...
The Rock makes money. The Rock's going to make money no matter what he does. All he has to say is The Rock. Central Intelligence made money.
That fucking Black Adam movie already with him in it.
Bro, let's just go ahead and let's go to the box office. The guy's going to print money for DC if they do a Black Adam movie with The Rock. But it's going to be hard to make a movie about a sadistic monarch who's technically a bad guy who just happens to have the same superpowers as Shazam.
Well, you could just do a Shazam movie and have him be the bad guy.
Yeah, man, because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting as hell.
He would make a really good Namor.
Oh, The Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. He definitely could do that. The Submariner Namor? Yeah, he could do that. He'd nail that. Still be better than all 3 Fantastic Four movies rolled together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can tell you that now. But, dude, I think we got our money's worth out of this one. Are you going to see it again, too?
Yeah, I need to see it again. There's some stuff I need to clear up.
Yeah, I got to go. I got some questions. It's like anything you watch. I'm a notorious for watching these movies multiple times and then just, like the first time I go and I just kind of want to enjoy the movie. This time I enjoyed the movie, but I was picking it apart and picking up a lot of Easter eggs out of it. So I'm going to go again and I'm probably going to try to just enjoy it, not to think. But I know what's going to happen.
They need to make that Wong movie, though.
What one movie?
The Wong movie.
Oh, Wong. You really want that Wong movie? I really want
that fucking Wong. I want that movie.
Wong was a badass, but he did die. Okay, we had to bring Wong back.
He didn't die.
He was just taking a nap on the rock. Oh, man, that movie was so badass. And once again, this is one of those movies where, like, the fight scene, as you said, it was not a slugfest. It took a lot of it. I didn't know what he was doing at first. What is he setting up? He really used his freaking brain to beat the big bad of this movie.
And, like, that's the thing is, like, Tilda Swinton, or the ancient one, tells him in that last conversation that they have right before she, spoilers, dies, she specifically tells him that death is not something that you should be afraid of, and that dying can be an act that can save people. And then he puts that together essentially when he goes into the dark dimension, when he goes up against Dormammu, and he says, okay, it doesn't matter how many times I die or how much I suffer. In the end, that suffering and those deaths are going to save the planet.
Yeah, no, he can save millions doing that.
And it didn't take a fight to do it. It took him casting a spell to loop time in a place where imposing time on a place where time doesn't exist.
It was amazing. I loved it. I so fucking love this movie. Scale of 1 to 10, hit me. Where you at?
About an 8.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I was about to say 8.5.
Yeah.
Just not quite a 9, not quite a 10. Definitely kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy, real fun film.
Yeah.
Like I had a fun time watching this movie. Definitely a recommend. Especially when you start thinking like the Captain America series have gotten so serious and kind of dark and in political espionage thrillers almost. And then Civil War was kind of a dark, we went
Civil War, the bad guy won.
No, we went to a dark place in Civil War. It was kind of nice to watch a fun film.
It was the first time in the Marvel Cinematic history where the bad guy actually won in Civil War.
Oh yeah, he won and he won big.
And that's the thing, is like he won because the only thing that he didn't win was what he really wanted, which was to have them kill him. That's the only thing that he didn't get out of all the things that he was trying to accomplish. He broke up the Avengers. He caused a rift between Tony and fucking Captain America. He completely tore the entire intelligence community down around its ears. Like, he fucking won.
Yeah, he wrecked that whole... Man, dang, when you say it like that, you don't think, wow, this dude wrecked the whole team. He wrecked everything around him. But he really did. Yeah, so great movie, man. Still...
He got the Sokovia Accords passed through by attacking them, so he was able to get that referendum made. Like, he won. There's no two ways about it. He is the greatest villain in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because he actually won.
Wow. Yeah, you don't think about that. No, nobody has ever thought. We might need to break that down one day. We may look into that a little bit further. That's pretty damn good. We need to get into that. But man, once again, we got to get out of here. Time's running out. Before we go, have you heard about Young Justice?
I heard there was something happening with Young Justice, yeah.
Next week on the show, let's talk about it.
All
right, man. Guys, always been a blast hanging out with you. We're just going to say what we normally do. Hit us up on social media. Hit us up in the inbox. Until then, take this week to be nice to one another. Be kind to one another. And make humanity great again. Peace. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page @GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages @Coach Silky and @ThighSide. You can direct questions and comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.